There once was a queen, not born into peace, but forged in war. Her entire life had been battle after battle, storm after storm, betrayal after betrayal. She learned early that if she did not become strong, the world would devour her. So she became relentless, savage when she had to be, fearless when she needed to be, unbreakable when everyone else would have fallen apart. She conquered kingdoms, built empires, healed herself, and devoted her life completely to God and to freeing humanity. But beneath the armor was a heart that had been through a meat grinder, a heart that had loved deeply, poured endlessly, given everything she had, and almost never received that love back in return. She had spent her life protecting everyone else, carrying everyone else, saving everyone else. But nobody had ever truly protected her. Nobody had ever truly seen her. Nobody had ever truly made her feel safe. And yet, before this lifetime ever began, God had already written her story. Because long before they were born, the queen and the king made a covenant with God, a soul contract, a divine agreement, a sacred promise. They would come to earth, find each other, awaken humanity, and lead people into freedom. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. The Queen's mission was never romance. It was destiny. She never went searching for a king because she needed saving. She went searching because the mission required both of them, because together they were always meant to wake the world. And when the Queen finally found her king, everything changed. Because for the first time in her life, she met a man who loved her exactly the way she had always loved others. Not for what she had, not for what she could provide, not for her power, not for her empire, not for her success, but simply for her. He was loyal, protective, honorable, present. He knew what she needed before she ever had to ask, and for the first time in her life, the Queen felt safe. Not because she became weak, but because she finally met someone strong enough to stand beside her. When she would lay her head on his chest after a long day of war, her soul melted into his, and she could finally breathe. Because they were true twin flames. One soul, split into two by God himself. He carried half, she carried half, and when they reunited, their souls became whole again. The Queen had already healed herself. She was whole. She was powerful. She was aligned with God. But his love healed places inside her she thought had died forever. Places no amount of strength could reach. Places hidden beneath decades of survival. Because true love does not weaken a woman. It gives her permission to finally stop surviving. It gives her permission to rest, to trust, to receive, to breathe. And for the first time, the Queen understood what submission truly meant. Not control, not domination, not weakness. Submission is safety. And the king vowed that no one would ever hurt her again. Together, the king and queen became the living example of what God intended love to be. No ego, no competition, no power struggle, no keeping score, just honor, respect, protection, trust, devotion, side by side, equal. A prophetic love story written by God himself. And from that healing, they made a vow that every person in their kingdom would heal too, because a healed kingdom becomes an abundant kingdom. That is why the Queen created the Great Awakening, to awaken people to their higher selves, to help them heal from trauma, to rewire their minds, to free them emotionally, spiritually, mentally, so they could become the version of themselves God always intended them to be. Because healed people can finally hold abundance. And once the kingdom began healing, the king and queen set forth on their final mission to lead their people into abundance. That is where the Queen's Path 4.1 was born. Protect the Queen. When the chart fires, King is running north, or King is running south. The King places his arm around the Queen, and together, they begin running toward abundance. The first thing he activates is protection. Protect the Queen, the stop-loss, because before abundance comes safety. The King guards her from harm. He shields her from destruction. He protects the kingdom. Then the first destination appears, healed and whole. Because broken people sabotage abundance, the kingdom first becomes healed, whole, restored. Then comes the second destination, safe and protected. Fear disappears, survival mode disappears. The people finally feel protected. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and finally, abundance. Not just money, freedom. The kind of freedom people dream about but rarely experience. A life where the people are healed, whole, safe, protected, abundant. Then the Kingdom Army activates. Kingdom Army, keep her safe. The trailing stop, protecting the Queen, protecting the mission, protecting the kingdom. As the King and Queen run toward abundance, the entire healed kingdom follows behind them. This was never just a system. This was never just charts. This was never just trading. This was a love story written by God. A mission, a prophecy, a kingdom awakening. And now, the King and Queen are calling their people home. The Queen's Path 4.1. Protect the Queen. The kingdom is healed. The kingdom is protected. The kingdom is abundant. And now, it's your turn to step into destiny.